My name is Irina. I came to Ariha some 3 years ago in order to research special species of butterflies that is endemic here in this region. And my research field is the interspecies interaction of the larvae of these butterflies with species of ants. Usually butterflies in general are very sensitive to climate change and very sensitive to their environment. And the species of butterflies that I'm researching on lives in a very small area in terms of their natural habitat. And they also have a certain type and species of plants that they use for their nutrition. Usually this species of butterfly stays in this particular area, doesn't migrate, but we found some populations which were rather active, rather mobile, and we found even some individuals at an altitude of 1,000 meters, which is pretty high. We thought maybe it's just it isn't an indicator for population of them, a larger population up there. But then we also found the host plant for the larva at this altitude, and we found huge populations there. And what we later found out is that the populations which are located at a lower altitude decrease in number far more and more fast than the populations up at the higher altitude. So here are some parasites. It's a disease with these trees. We figured out that this butterfly species lives in symbiosis with ants. And these ants prefer to nest in areas where there are many ferns, so high fern populations, because the ferns are nourished out of potassium. They suck the potassium out of the soil. And ferns started to move north, and ants accordingly followed them and also moved. And we know that generally ants are very adaptive to different environments, and however we are and were not sure how this butterfly species would do. Now what we are observing is that they already have crossed mountains of medium altitude to the next valley, so there are already some butterfly populations there of the species. And as we are trying to do everything in order to preserve the species, now we are doing everything to also prevent them moving further north until they reach the city. So now in this area we have a significant problem with the spruce bark beetle, because within the last couple of years the number of spruces has significantly decreased, which was quite a serious problem, and also a huge part of the trees is affected by now. You see the holes, and you can see there are some remains that they also laid eggs here, so it was not only for feeding, or they just didn't only live here, but they clearly breeded here. We used to have a healthy population of the Rhizophagus that managed to balance out this bark beetle population, but for some reason their population became unstable, and now the bark beetles are everywhere basically. Some assume that it might be the change in the soil and in the consistency of the soil and its chemical balance. Maybe it's also the fern populations, and the Rhizophagus builds also its cocoon stage in the soil, and maybe some chemical instability dissolves the cocoon. raccoons. So these are the reasons that we assume.